Welcome to all our guests and friends on the new episode of the talk show at AWA Agora. I'm your host, Abhay Wadhwa. Please join me in welcoming Guy Geier. He's the managing partner at FX Collaborative here in New York City. Guy is going to be discussing a very interesting topic of design thinking. You know, in the hurry that we all get into, the tizzy that we get into, which is kind of meeting deadlines and getting projects built, et cetera, that how do you keep design thinking intact and use that as an innovative point of departure?
And we're working with a number of developers on residential towers and other office buildings and other things that, you know, they all feel bullish about it too. They know that if they don't keep these projects moving forward, that, you know, as people feel more and more comfortable about being in the city, that they're going to need places to live. And so we're doing a lot of, new residential projects that incorporate affordable housing in them, and will hopefully create an opportunity for more people to move into the city and create really 24/7 communities. We really believe that we need to build projects that have that endure and have a long life. That we do it with respect for our planet's resources. So we've been a leader in sustainable design for many years now, and are very committed to that and taking that to the next level. We also believe very strongly that all of our clients have a unique culture that we need to understand. And we'll talk a little bit about that in the design thinking process. And that also that social responsibility and diversity is something that we need to work hard at all the time, not just in our own firm and we give people opportunities, but also in how we do our projects and what we think about when we design and having, providing access to everybody for the projects that we do. When I was in architecture school, we didn't call it design thinking, but we talked about the process of design. And this is really something I think we do all the time now in our projects, where when you empathize with our clients, we kind of, again, as I said earlier, we try to understand what makes our clients tick, what their culture is about, and that helps us define the problem. So, and that's really the next step, is to define the problem. And sometimes that's very quantitative, but what's also important is that you define what their qualitative requirements are. What are their cultural drivers? Because that's just as important as the numbers. And you kind of define the problem in both of those ways. And then out of that comes a process of ideation, really initial designs, where you create alternatives, you look at different options of how you're going to solve a problem. Then ultimately you try to prototype those projects. And sometimes through the prototyping, whether that's building models or looking at things like, in 3 dimensions, you start to think about, okay, what can be improved? What are the ideas from one concept to another that work and what doesn't work? And you kind of loop backward again and use that to rethink those ideas. And then ultimately you get through a point where you test those ideas in a more real world situation. And that leads to kind of the final design that everybody agrees to. As we explain that idea to them, and we explained it to the community up in Upper Manhattan, we didn't get any resistance to it because it was a kind of natural outgrowth of the program for the building. And then to understand the story of the statue itself, but the reasons behind the statue coming here and France's gift to the United States. All of those different explorations kind of led to this solution. I think the turning point was when we really understood the possibility of making the building part of the landscape as opposed to a kind of standalone building sitting there on the island. You draw out the materiality from the program, from the location, from its orientation to the sun and how you want to think about the environment.